Have you ever joined a coaching program or a course, and instead of leaving that program feeling a transformation, you actually felt disappointed? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to show you the importance of building a program on something that you personally experience so that you can avoid your clients walking away feeling the way that you used to feel. At the end of last week's episode, I mentioned that I was going to do a part 2 explaining to you the importance of building a coaching offer around something that you have personal experience in. And I know for some of you, you're probably thinking like, this is common sense. Of course, you should build an offer on something that you know personally. Of course, you should build an offer on something that you can relate to. But in today's society, common sense is not so common. And there are a lot of coaches who build offers on things that they have no experience or no personal connection to. Like, for example, have you ever heard of a coach who promises that they're going to teach you how to make $1 million? But then when you get inside their program, you're disappointed. And when you take a deep observation into them, you realize that they never even had $1 million. They made $1 million by selling this program, claiming that they're going to teach you how to make $1 million. Or I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like maybe you invest money into a coaching program or into a course and everything feels very surface level. It feels like things that you could have Googled yourself. It feels very generic. It feels like they're giving you information instead of a step-by-step guide of how to actually move into this thing. There's a lot of coaches who run their business this way. They run their business on topics that they feel are demanding. They run their business off high volume topics that they feel like people are currently searching, although they don't have any experience or any personal relationship to it. I remember back in 2021, I had took a training that taught you how to make your own course. And that training was a cohort. So there was thousands of other people who took this training with me. And so I remember one day the trainer was doing the Q&A calls where you can ask questions, and somebody had called in and they were like, hey, I want to build out a course on Airbnbs and I want to teach people how to, host their own Airbnb. How should I go about this? Should I Google information on Airbnbs? Should I watch YouTube videos on Airbnbs? Like basically asking the trainer, how do I get the information to put inside the course about Airbnbs to sell to people? And of course, the trainer, corrected them and was like, no, you should not, do a course on Airbnbs if you do not have any experience or knowledge in that area. But that moment showed me there are a lot of coaches who structure their business this way. They structure their business simply by looking up topics that they feel are hot topics right now that people are actively searching, and they Google information, throw that information together and sell it as an offer, even though they don't have any experience. And so, although you may feel like personal experience is common sense, it's not. And so what I want to do today is I want to show you a few ways why having personal experience in your offer and in your coaching business will set you up for success. So the first reason why you should build an offer on something that you have personal experience in is because it helps you build your business and your offer from your own unique point of view. If we're going to be honest, the coaching industry is very saturated, and more than likely, the industry in which you want to coach is saturated as well. So if you're a marketing coach, your client could be looking at things like, why should I work with you when there are 50 other marketing coaches out there right now? If you're a marriage coach, your client could be looking at it as, why should I work with you when I just came across 10 marriage coaches today? Your client's going to be looking at it like, why should I work with you when I just got 5 Facebook ads today from different coaches who coach on the same thing? It's a very saturated and competitive industry. And so that means that you have to find a way to stand out amongst your competitors. And the easiest way to stand out amongst your competitors is by having your own unique point of view in which you coach. See, when you do not have a personal experience in the industry that you are coaching, the way that you teach, your marketing, everything is going to sound very generic. It's going to sound like you are reading a script. It's going to sound like you just Googled something and you're reading a blog word from word, just reading something to someone because they're not capable of reading it themselves. But when you have personal experience in this industry, you can talk to your client and you can say, okay, I know how you felt at this point, and I know what you were thinking at this point, and I know how you started your journey. You started your journey trying to self-teach yourself because you thought that this was going to be easy, but then you started struggling right here. And I know that this was the breaking point in which you made the decision that you wanted to work with a coach. And then I know that on my personal journey right here, I needed flashcards to help me understand this area better. So now I'm going to give you flashcards to help you understand this area better. You see how it's creating personality. It's not just like, okay, I'm reading a script. I Googled, how should you do this? And then I read to this person, this is what you want to do. This is a step that you want to take. This is something else that you can do. But when you actually have experience in it, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking every step of your journey. I know what's going to help you further. See, this coach who's building this with no experience is just going to give you a script. They're just going to give you slides, and they're going to read those slides to you and be like, okay, there you go. That's what you need to do. Go out there and do it. But me, since I have experience, I know that right here, you need help deeper. I know right here, you need a calculator. I know right here, you need flashcards. I know right here, you need a worksheet. I know right here, you need resources. You need connections. If I'm a tax coach, you need connections to a tax advisor. If I'm a tax coach, you need connections to a lawyer to help you with this. So not only am I going to give you the information, I'm going to give you the resources. And the way that I have the resources is because I actually experienced this myself. So I got connections with these people who helped me on this. And then I collaborated with these people so that they can then help you. This makes you stand out. So when your client comes across you, and then they come across that other coach who has no experience, and they're comparing both of you guys and asking themselves, they both teach the same thing. Why should I go with you over them? By getting a deeper dive into your personality, into your experience, into you being able to communicate to them how they felt when they were on different parts of the journeys, things that they did. I'll give you an example, and I'll make this very, very quick. One thing that I did in my business was I started to write a book. And I actually finished writing my first book in 2 years. But instead of moving on to the next phase, which would be editing the book and publishing the book, I decided to rewrite the book. So I rewrote the book, finished it again. Then I still wasn't satisfied. So I rewrote the book again. And I kept going through this phase of rewriting the book. And I thought that this was just a me thing until I came across a book publishing coach, right? And when I was listening to her, she explained the cycle that I was in. She was like, you are in a cycle of revamping. You're in a cycle where you're not confident in your book and you're not confident in your words. And so you just keep rewriting it. And as soon as she said that, I was like, whoa, how did she know that? I never talked to this lady. She's on a presentation. I never talked to this lady. How does she know that I'm stuck in this cycle? I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought it was a me thing. I thought that maybe it was just me. But apparently this is something that's very common in the book industry. And so she gave a solution on how to overcome that cycle. And it intrigued me where I was very interested in working with her because I was like, she understands what I'm going through. I didn't have to explain it to her. That's not even something that I felt was a problem. I just thought that I'm trying to make my book better. I'm trying to make it good enough, you know? And when she said it, I realized that, wow, maybe I am stuck into a cycle. Maybe I do have a problem. Maybe I do need help on this area. And I've been connected to this lady because she was able to acknowledge something that I've been doing that I didn't even think was a problem. But that's what happens when you have a personal experience. And I know that she had a personal experience because she literally said, I know this cycle because I went through that cycle. So she went through it. She fell into that. So she knew that since she went through this was something that I was struggling with. And it connected me to her. Your personal experience is going to connect you to your client. And it's going to make them want to work with you over every other person who is selling the exact same thing. And that brings me to reason number 2 as to why you should build a coaching offer on something that you have personal experience in. And that is because you will know what your client is thinking every step of the way. Clients do not buy your program simply just because it's something that they're interested in. There's a million marketing coaches and I need help with marketing. There's a million marriage coaches and I need help with my marriage. There's a million finance coaches and I need help with finances. They're not just going to buy your program simply because you claim to have the answer that they are looking for. Your client is going to buy your coaching program based off of their confidence in you being able to get them a transformation. And that confidence is going to come from building a connection with you, building trust with you. And the easiest way to build trust with your client is being able to relate to them. So when you have those moments where you're able to talk to them about how they're feeling right now, they didn't express it to you. Think about my story with the book publisher. I didn't express to her that I kept rewriting my book. She said it. And I felt like she just read through me. I felt like she was an angel that God sent to me. Because how in the world did you just say to me exactly what I've been feeling or exactly what I've been doing? And you're on a presentation doing a webinar and there are hundreds of people here. And I feel like you are speaking directly to me. I feel like you just looked through the entire crowd, looked me in my eyes and said, you. That's building a connection. Your client wants to feel like you care, right? So it's like when we think about programs, whether you are doing a coaching program, a course, a mastermind, your client is spending money with you. And in this economy, it matters who you spend money with, right? And so one of the main things that your client is thinking about, it doesn't matter if they are, a high class client or they are willing to spend anything. They still want to feel like I'm not wasting my money. If I pay for this, this will give me a transformation. This will be the key to my breakthrough. And so I have to feel like this person cares. If they don't care about how I'm feeling right now, if they're not passionate about the transformation that they are bringing me to, I know that they don't care enough to take me there. So I'll give you an example. There is a training that I am currently interested in taking. And when I was looking at reviews, what intrigued me even more is that a lot of people said, this girl is so patient. She will literally sit there and break everything down to you to make sure that you understand. She's not one of those who gets irritated if you're not catching on. She's not one of those who just wants to move on to the next point. She will sit here and she will make sure that everything is clicking and that you are understanding enough to move through this to make sure that you actually get the transformation. And I was like, oh, wow, these reviews are not just speaking about their results, but they're speaking about her character. They're speaking about how passionate she is. They're speaking about how patient she is. And that built trust with me where I was like, oh, well, outside of all these other coaches who teach the same thing, I want to work with her because her clients are telling me that she has patience to make sure that I get through this. She has patience to make sure that I understand this. Understanding how your client feels every step of the way and having the patience to help them understand how to navigate those feelings and get through that step is going to connect with your client in a deeper way. And before we move on to the next reason, I really want you to understand that relating to your client every step of the way is not just something that you want to do when you are trying to get them into the program. You want to make sure that this is something that you are doing when they are actually taking your program. Because think about the girl that I just said I'm interested in working with. She got a lot of great reviews, but she didn't get those reviews simply because she cared when she was trying to get their money. But then after she got their money, she was like, screw you. I don't care about your transformation. No, she cared every step of the way, even when she was walking them to the transformation. So that's what got her these great testimonies over scam accusations. So to make this real of like, what are you talking about, right? I want to give you an example. Let's go back to the lady who was in a training with me that wanted to do research on Airbnbs to sell to people as a course. Let's say that she put all this information together from Google and she was able to help someone purchase a property, get it listed, and start hosting it as an Airbnb. So her clients are doing this, or the people who's taking her course is doing this. Then one of her clients come to her and they say, hey, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated because I listed my property and nobody's booking. I'm ready to give up. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I followed your framework completely to the T. Nobody's booking. Guess what? Because she got this information off Google, or she listened to another person on a podcast say it, and then she gathered everything that they said and just sold it in a course, she doesn't know what to do at this step. She doesn't relate to him. She doesn't even have an Airbnb. She doesn't know how it feels to put in all that work and you're so excited, I'm about to bring in all this money, and then bam, nobody books. She doesn't know how to help this person navigate these feelings of getting ready to give up. She doesn't know how to help them. Now the connection is starting to disconnect. And this person is going to look at her very differently. You don't know how to help me? You don't know how to help me navigate? You're my mentor. It doesn't matter if I'm working with you through a journal, I'm working with you through a course. You're my mentor. You're supposed to be guiding me. How don't you know how to guide me right now? How don't you have anything else to offer me? And then it's going to start turning your clients away. So you don't want to be in a position where it's like, I'm only trying to relate with you when I'm trying to get your money. No, I'm trying to relate with you every step of the way. See, when you pay me, that is the first step in our journey together, not the end. Our journey does not end until this program ends. And by the time this program ends, I want you in a different space than where you started. I want you to see a transformation. And it's my responsibility to make sure that you get there. So I have to understand you. I have to understand where you're coming from. I have to understand how you're feeling. I have to navigate how to get you through those feelings, how to get you through those obstacles, how to get you through that discouragement. I have to help you every step of the way. It doesn't just happen when I'm trying to get your money. And it's very important for you to understand that and to grasp that. And the last reason as to why you should build an offer on something that you have personal experience in is because it helps you build a business that you are actually passionate about. If you haven't learned anything from what I've been talking about, it's mainly that you have to care about your client. You have to care about how your client feels. You have to care about how they feel every step of the way on their journey. You have to care about the obstacles that they are, encountering and help them navigate it. You have to care. And the best way to care is by being passionate about what you are helping them with. See, I'm going to be honest with you. You cannot be passionate on something that you don't have experience in. If you never bought an Airbnb, you cannot be passionate about Airbnbs. Why? Because clearly you're not that passionate if you never cared to go through that journey yourself. But when you actually have experience in something and you've overcame something, you know how it felt to be without this, to be working towards this, to be in the obstacles and feeling like you're never going to accomplish this, to now being successful in it. You never forgot the pain that it felt before you had this. And so you care enough where it's like, I know how it felt to have that pain. I know how it felt to cry myself to sleep every single night. I know how it felt to feel like it was never going to happen. So I care enough to help you because I know you're feeling the same way. It helps you create a business that you are passionate about. I tell you guys all the time, when it comes to me, you may think that my business and my passion is helping you start a coaching business. But that's not my passion. My passion is helping you become financially successful. That's why I want you to start a coaching business the right way. That's why I want you to create products that match your dream life. That's why I want you to learn that you don't have to work for money. You can make money. You can create money by creating offers. And then once you start grasping that and you start becoming successful in that, then I want to help you manage and grow your money so that you never experience how it feels again to lack. I know how it felt to be financially down. I know how it felt to have a lot of money and no idea what to do with it. I know how it felt to feel like you will never make money and you feel like you are cursed. I know how it felt to cry yourself to sleep and cry and sob to God about why he's not helping you financially. I know how it felt to be in all these things. That's why I'm passionate about what I do. When I get success stories and people say, hey, I followed this framework and it worked for me. Hey, I signed up for your course and it helps me. Hey, I got my first client because of you. I got my first paycheck because of you. I understood that I used to be a generous coach and I used to be scared, but now I was confident enough to launch a product and I made my first sale. Getting those success stories means something to me because I used to struggle with it. I'm passionate about what I do, so it makes it enjoyable for me to show up. Your struggles are for a reason. Because when you overcome those struggles, you now should help other people overcome the same thing. And if it relates to your coaching business, create an offer. Market to them based off of how you used to feel. That lady who was a book publishing coach, she didn't know me. She didn't survey me, but she literally talked about what she used to do in her marketing and realized that that was something that I fell into. And I instantly built a connection with her just from her explaining and talking to me about how she used to feel and knowing that I relate directly to it. So if you haven't taken anything away from this episode, number one, you need to build an offer on something that you have personal experience in. Reason why is because it helps you create a unique point of view in your business. It helps you think of the client every step of the way, and it helps you build something that you are passionate about and something that you actually enjoy. But I have talked way too much. That is all that I have for you today. Before we go, I do have a weekly action step that I would love to give you. So sometime this week, I want you to take 15 minutes and write down 3 experiences that have completely changed your life. Then next to each one, I want you to ask yourself, who could I help now because I went through this? And I'm going to give you another question. What are they feeling that I can help them navigate through? But that is all that I have for you today. Please make sure that you leave a comment or a review and let me know how this has helped you and what you took away from it. And I will see you next week.